Okay. Well, welcome everybody to our first Viva Women's Google Hangouts, or actually we ended up on Zoom, but it's our first meeting. So welcome everybody who's watching this. And I want to thank every one of the people sharing the screen with me here today. We have Sandy Lou Guerrero, we have Annette Ramirez, and we have Maria Bello. I don't see you added to the Bello now. What is it?
Ramos.
Ramos. Okay. Okay. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys. I mean, you guys are awesome ladies, and there's a reason why I specifically chose you. You guys are pillars already within our community, like I mentioned to you. You guys are pillars already for women, advocating for women, and I feel that this is exactly the purpose that we are meeting when it comes to Viva. So I want each one of you, if we can, I'm going to start with you, Maria, if you can introduce yourself so that every one of us is going to have a chance to introduce ourselves. I'd like for you to say your name, you know, where you live, what is it that you do, and then I'll go through Sandy Lou, then we'll go through Annette, and then we'll go ahead and start our conversation at that point.
Okay. Hi, ladies. Good evening. My name is, like me introducing, I go by Maria Araceli. I live in the San Jose Bay Area. I just moved out here. I'm a Bay Area native. I'm an online health and wellness coach, and I also mentor women who are victims or survivors of sexual abuse. And I also coach lifestyle. I help women through lifestyle, all online. So that's what I've been doing for the last almost 2 years, and it fuels me. It's I believe my God purpose in life to serve these women.
Thank you, Maria. Sandy Lou, tell us where you're joining us from and what do you do?
Hello, I'm joining you from Glendale, California, which is close to the Los Angeles area in Southern California. And what I do, I'm a transformational business and life coach, and I support people in their personal, professional, and business development. I support them in empowering them to creating whatever their heart desires. I also create and facilitate a workshop for women called Women's Revival Group, which I'm very passionate about. It's my baby. It's my baby. I've been doing it for a few years, and I love my group. But I do one-on-one coaching on on goals and supporting people to create the life that they want and overcoming their obstacles, whether they're experiences they had in the past or the things they're making up that are holding them in the present. So I love what I do. It's my purpose. I'm living my purpose, my vision.
And you are also one of the co-authors in our book, Leading the
Yes.
System. Right.
Yes, which I'm very proud of. It's a huge milestone.
Right.
Grateful to be doing it as well.
Yes. So thank you for that. And then we have Annette with us. Annette, I actually met through Maria. So thank you so much, Maria, for the introduction. And Annette, go ahead and introduce yourself too.
Hi, my name is Annette Ramirez. I live in the Pittsburgh, California area. That's about 45 minutes east of San Francisco. I'm a daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, and a friend. And I started off as a domestic violence caseworker where I worked at a domestic violence shelter for 8 years. And that happened right after my mom passed away and I was completely lost. Through that, I met marvelous, amazing, and inspiring women that motivated me. So I guess I can say I'm not a coach, but I've been there and I've done that. And with everything that goes on through motherhood, I just took all of the tools and resources I gained from the women around me, and I share that information with others. And that's, I believe, what has kept me going is that I talk about everything and anything. I don't hold back. I share my stories. I cry when I need to cry, and I laugh when I need to laugh, and I just keep going. And that's what I do.
Thank you so much, Annette. Thank you for that. So there's one thing that, again, I think there's a common denominator between us four. And even though, Annette, you said you're not in the platform, which Sandy Lou and Maria is of the coaching, but you still have you have an interaction with women. So it might not be a coaching in their style, but you have a way also that you share your story, like you said, and you're putting yourself out there, your experiences, and you share all that. So all in all, we all have that commonality that, you know, at the end of the day, we all have that same heart and that same purpose. So I applaud every one of you for that. I love that. That's why I asked you guys to be on here. So like I shared with you earlier, I wanted to start off Viva Amazing with one topic. And I think the topic that we can mostly relate to, the reason why I wanted to start this community for us, Viva Women, was I feel that as you guys already coach other women and as you help other women, there has to happen a point, right? Let me start with this, actually. There was a point that all of you reached in order to get to where your purpose is now. And because you don't just wake up one day and say, oh, you know what, I want to just bare my naked soul of everything I've been through and allow somebody to just, you know, see me for who I am and my flaws and my errors, my mistakes. And there's a judgment that comes with that to other people who haven't reached this point, that you hold back and you rather, it's safer to stay on the other side of the wall. So then there comes a point for women like us that something that we've probably encountered in our lives, and maybe other people have, but there's something that just turns a switch. I don't know if it's in our heart, if it's in our mind, if it's in our soul, that all of a sudden we're like, no, I can't be the only one. I need to help somebody else. So let's start again in the same order. Maria, share with us, please, what is it that that got you to this place where you are now?
I had basically my entire 20s, I'm 35 years old, my entire 20s, I was working so hard at crawling out of chronic depression, panic disorder, and I developed PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm a survivor of a sexual abuse trauma, and I couldn't overcome it. And so age 30 came, and everything just went downhill. And no matter who I spoke with, I felt judged. I felt alone. I felt lost. The doctors would just prescribe medication. My coworkers were talking about me. My family, my friends were like, and they were tired, like, oh, again, you're not feeling good again. And I hit rock bottom, and I felt alone. And I remember walking for like miles on a hiking trail. And I remember asking God, I said, God, you know, please take my life or give me life, because I don't know what to do. And 2 weeks after that conversation with God, I met a coach. And it wasn't my coach, but I met a coach, and she was a life coach, kind of like what she does. And she had told me something. She told me something that hit me. She said, you don't know yourself. You have to find yourself. And I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what Maria was other than just a survivor, a mother, and a wife. So you know, that at that moment, I knew I had to figure out what was going on. In that process, my marriage failed. My husband and I separated, and then I hit complete. I thought that was rock bottom. You know, working on myself, I hit even further rock bottom. My marriage, we separated. So the moment came, I moved into my own apartment, alone, by myself in this apartment, crying when I didn't have my kids, whatnot. I decided to use social media as a platform to connect with other women through Team Beachbody, where I coached. And I decided to start, surrounding myself with only women that were of the same purpose, who want to empower others, women who were sharing nothing but positivity. And I decided to soak it in, and just become that. I decided that's what I want to become. That's what I'm going to do with my life. And through helping other women and developing my I was able to rise above my depression and cure myself. And then the final component came when I gave my life to Christ. I left the Catholic Church, I joined a Christian church, and I got closer to God. I learned how to walk closer with God, and all of that helped me heal my spirit and pull myself out of that depression and get off all the medication they had me on and take away, the despair of wanting to, I wanted to die. So I used all that pain and I turned it into power, and that's how I am able to help other women just by being compassionate. I have no real actual training other than a life training.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Maria. I remember when you and I connected from in the beginning, you were going through a lot of that. But even then, I remember when we spoke, we both identified where I was like, I know my path is somewhere about women. I was doing my Latino web series at that time. I was like, I know, I'm doing this, I'm enjoying this, but I know my purpose is more for women. You're like, me too. That's what I want to do. But you haven't found your way yet. So I'm so happy to have seen you in that process and seen you where you are now. I'm very happy for that.
Thank you, Mia. I'm so blessed our paths crossed.
I know. Amen to that. I'm so happy. Thank you for that. Okay, so Sandy Lou, if we can move on to you, please. And you can also share with us exactly like Maria did, how you got to this point.
Well, how it all started, it goes way, 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 way back, except that I didn't know at the time. I actually found myself separated from my ex-husband. We had been separated for 3 weeks. We were married for almost 10 years. And I hit rock bottom. I was at a point where it was do or die. I felt like I just wanted to die, or something needed to happen. Growing up, I had been sexually abused. My mother was an alcoholic. In my early 20s, my brother was killed by a freeway sniper shooting. I got married. I eloped when I was in high school, so I got married with someone that turned out to be manipulative, mentally abusive, and it became physically abused. Then later, I just kept finding myself in different relationships, in bad situations. Either I was a bad, mean person or the other way around, but I always found myself in unhealthy relationships because it all comes back down to the first experience with a man, which was when I was sexually abused as a child. So I carried on years and years of things. I eventually got married again to someone in the military. My mother passed away due to medical negligence. She was an alcoholic. They thought she was drunk, so they didn't attend to her. And she actually had a brain hemorrhage. She fell on Mother's Day, and 3 days later, she passed away from the head injury. And right after, within a few weeks, I had lost a few months. I lost my grandmother, which was like the queen of the family. Then my mom, and then my grandfather, and then a few months after, I had a miscarriage, and then the year after that, I had another miscarriage. So I went through a lot of stuff, and I was like always the pillar of my family, the one who led, the one who took care of everything, took care of, financially, just always took care of everybody, that I always put aside what I felt. And so I masked a lot of my experiences with anger, with being hard and objective. Like, I used to be the girl that used to cry at the movies, and I went from that to like, that's ridiculous. Like, I just really closed myself. I closed my heart. I just really got like talk about armor in my heart, and like really guarded in the moment that I felt vulnerable and I wanted to cry. I just wanted to strangle someone for making me get there. But I went through a lot of experiences, and in the process, I always felt like a victim of the experiences. And I guess you could say that I was, but also no, living that way wasn't serving me. It was really taking a toll on my being and who I was being, what I was creating, how guarded I was, how I was keeping everybody at an arm's distance, including my ex-husband. Like, I just kept everybody far from me. I didn't want to, I felt threatened. If I felt threatened in vulnerability in any kind of way, I was guarded. Like, the moment I felt like I was going to be out of control, like right away, the nails came out, and I was like guarded. So it was pretty crazy. And, you know, I got to the point where I pushed my ex-husband away. And, but before that happened, you know, a lot of things happen in the relationship. And, you know, in relationships, it's not just one person. You know, we're all responsible for our part in it. But I can say that I was definitely a big part of it. But, I got to the point where now, you know, the tables had turned. I went from a very overbearing, pain in the rear wife to now he got tired of it. So I pushed him to the ugliness. And then it turned out that, you know, then he was not very kind to me. He never, you know, physically abusive, but just very mean. He was just tired of it. So at one point I finally said, that's it. Cause now I had no control over my emotions. I was on anxiety medication, and it was just really bad. I felt like I was in a roller coaster. Physically, my stomach felt like it was in a roller coaster. And I knew that I had to get out of the relationship at that point, because now it was really taking a toll of my physical being. And I felt like I had no control. So I got separated, and I had been 3 weeks from my separation. And I was like, that's it. I can't do this anymore. I had heard about a self-development training, the transformational training. I had heard about it 3 years before that. And one time I even made an effort to go there, but I got caught in traffic. I got to work late, and I was like, oh, you know, I was going to go to their like introductory workshop, and I never made it. I just, oh, it's traffic, forget it. You know, it was inconvenient. So I finally made a choice. You know, I woke up, I at this point, I left my job, I left my home. I went from having homes and money and a good job and everything, to living in my sister's bed, you know, house in a bedroom with her daughter, and just no sleep, no eat. No, I wasn't eating, sleeping, crying all the time. So I went from not crying ever to like, now I can't stop crying. So it was pretty extreme. Really extreme. My family was really worried about me, because I'm the one that held it together all these years when everything happened. And here I was, you know, it was so out of character for me. So I ended up doing this transformational training. And the crazy part is that this training, I didn't have the money for it. But I knew that I had to do something at that point. And I knew that it didn't matter my image. If I needed to ask someone for help or something, I just had to do it. So I woke up that morning, and I was like an hour and a half from where the training actually was. I was staying at my sister's, and I knew I had to do something. So I ended up calling my dad's girlfriend at the time, because he had a girlfriend now. And I was not very nice to her at one point. Like I think I never been uglier to a person than I was to her at one point with an incident that happened. And I knew she would have the credit card, she would have the money, and I didn't know she was going to say yes, but I was like, at this point, I was dying. You know, I had to do something. I had to let my image get out of the way and be okay with the no, you know. So I called her, and she's like, yes, you know, your dad's really worried about you. And she gave me her credit card number over the phone and everything, didn't even hesitate. And next thing you know, I'm calling and registering over the phone. I call a friend to see if I could go stay at her house for the week. And my life has never been the same since then. I went in crawling, and within a few days, I couldn't stop smiling. My cheeks hurt. I felt so much younger. I did a lot of letting go and a lot of reflection. And I think the biggest take for me was really responsibility and ownership for my thoughts, actions, and feelings. And knowing that it's up to me what I choose to interpret, you know, and I love the work. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, my parents lived depressed all their life, actually. So here I found myself in their shoes, you know, and I found out I did this work, and it altered everything. I was like, I gotta learn this. I realized we don't have to suffer, that suffering is an option, and there's a lot of things available to us, and we just gotta get out of our comfort zone or out of the convenience of things, right? And we gotta invest in ourselves. And so I took on the trainings, I took on everything I possibly could, and learned from the trainers, got mentored by the trainers, and I was there in the training room for years, shadowing, you know, participating, coaching as a volunteer, and I decided to take it on my own, and I started in my own personal journey in November 11, 2009, and I've been coaching since 2010, summer of 2010, and then finally started taking my clients, and I love what I do, because it really alters the course of people's lives, and I'm always learning and growing, and I just love what I do. It you know, talk about being the change.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, it's you know, it's all like you said, you also encountered a lot of things, you know, we all do in different ways, but it's what you do with it, and both of you have not allowed to stay down. You got knocked down, but you don't stay down. So thank you so much for that. And Annette, if you can tell us also, what's your story? We all have a story. What's yours?
So I'm going to start off just saying the lowest point in my life. I was 22 years old. I had just graduated from a medical administration course. A week after I graduated, my mom was diagnosed with amyloidosis, which is cancer, and 9 months later, she died. I felt so alone just because as a child, I was the black sheep. I was always getting in trouble. I barely graduated high school. I was cutting. I was drinking. I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, but my mom was always there for me. So losing her was the hardest thing for me. I had an older sister and 2 younger brothers. My little brother was 5 years old when my mom passed away. And after she died, my family fell apart. My dad disowned my older sister and I. We weren't able to see my little brothers. My boyfriend that I had since high school, was upset because I was so busy trying to take care of my mom. I didn't have time to see him. I went and I signed up for school because I had nothing else to do. I just graduated. I had no goals. I had no dreams. I had nothing. And after my mom passed away, my sister got a call from an agency called Stand Against Domestic Violence, where they were looking for crisis line counselors. And my sister said, Annette, that's you. Do it. Just go for it. And honestly, I was just like, you know what? I have no energy to keep going myself. How am I going to be a crisis line counselor and inspire women that are trying to leave abusive relationships? Why are you asking me to do that? Find somebody else. But something told me to do it, so I did it. I went to the interview. I met with women. I hadn't even left the parking lot when they were calling me back, asking me to start the next day. I had never done something like that. I went from being a cashier in a Rite Aid to being a crisis line counselor. So I met amazing women that trained me, directed me, encouraged me to just keep going, to take advantage of the life that I had, use the experience that I had lived through, being the black sheep of the family, tell people why they should go to school, why they should, have hopes and dreams. And little by little, it started happening for me. Life started making sense again. I'm still not as complete as I'm still broken. I'm still a broken person, but I try to keep going. That's just, when I least expected it, I got pregnant with my son. He's 12 now. And that was just like my mom saying, you're not giving up now, buddy. Keep going. So I learned, how to be a mom, not having a mom. I learned from the women around me, from my friends, my coworkers, sharing with them when I was feeling like I was the worst parent ever. Like I wasn't nurturing my son right. Like I wasn't, doing mealtime, wasn't feeding him healthy, wasn't breastfeeding right. Just every little thing, there was always somebody next to me to help me and just let me know that I was doing the best I could. Just, when just sharing their personal stories with me. As a domestic violence caseworker, when I worked for Stand, I was there 8 years. I lived in a shelter. I pretty much lived in the shelter because I was there 8 hours a day working with women and children that had left abusive relationships. And it was my job to make crisis safety plans with them to try to start their lives all over. And you'd be surprised how much you can help somebody who left their house with only the pajamas they were wearing. I had women with newborns and 6-year-old children that were motivating their mom and saying, Mommy, you can do it. It's okay. We're going to be okay. And, me thinking in my head, I'm complaining about losing my mom. These people have more problems than me. Like I felt like a horrible person just because I didn't have to go through everything they went through, So being there 8 years, I learned so much from the women I was there to help. It's scary. I mean, I still to this day, I can't understand how they taught me so much, but just seeing how they didn't give up gave me the courage to keep going. And the amazing women that helped and trained me, you know, being a caseworker and, you know, working at a domestic, a lot of advocates and liaisons, and they just have so much knowledge. And I've always taken all of the information that they've given me and shared it, because if I just let that information die with me or just be silent in my body, I'm not fulfilling my purpose. And my purpose, I love to talk. That's what I do. I talk. And I have to share it. That's the whole purpose as to why you run into the people you meet. You know, that's that path. You keep going, you share the knowledge, you share the support. Because like I said before, we've all hit rock bottom, but it's how we get up that makes us who we are. So that was my lowest point, you know, learning how to be a mom, not having a mom when you become a mom. That's really hard. And just hoping that you're doing the right thing, you know, just to give your children what you thought you didn't have, just to inspire them.
And I think you brought up a good point. I mean, you all brought up amazing points, but I think we all, as women, we all fall into that category where at times, and they could be very often, we always feel like we're not quite where we want to be. We're not doing enough. We're not, in a way, maybe good enough to what we know we should be or what people expect us or expect out of us. And I know that that each one of you, in the way you already work with women, I know that you'll agree with me on this because it's happened with me. I don't work directly the way any of you do, but because of my involvement in social media and my presence on the things that I do, I have a lot of women reach out to me. And one thing that takes me back is that when they say, oh, well, you're an inspiration to me, what you said, this and that, and then all of a sudden I realize, whoa, people are watching. People are watching what you do, what you make out of your life. And one thing it's taught me, it's like when I start talking to these women, I learn more from them than what they think they're getting out of me. And I think you guys can, because I see you nodding your head, I know that you coach these women, you talk to them, but in that process, you guys are just, it's a give and take. You guys are also receiving as well. Am I right, Maria?
Definitely.
100%. I learned from them more than I think they learned from me, honestly. And it adds, and that helps add more value to other women and fuels that purpose to continue sharing, because there are women out there watching and scared to come up and talk to other women. And we learn so much from each other.
We do. Sandy, why do you think that, for instance, you know, I mentioned to you guys that when I put out there the Google Hangouts, I invited people and said, hey, does anybody want to be a part of it? Let me know. And you guys can engage with us. And at first, some said yes, and then they took a step back. They were apprehensive about it because they realized, like, oh, wait a minute, you're going to post it live. People are going to see this, you know, and like I told you, I applaud you because it takes a lot for us to come out here and share our story. And I think that's what I want to do. I want with our community, with Viva, I want women to learn that, you know what, we have to step up. We have to hear, like, not hear our voice. We have to be the voice or own your voice, right? So, Sandy, can you tell me what your experience is with women on when you're coaching them? I know you told me before that sometimes, like, you'll sit there and you want engagement, but then they're a little bit held back. How do you break through as a woman that's not in the area that you guys are in? How do you tell your women that are sitting there and you need them to learn how to even realize that they have a voice and they need to use it? How do you do that?
One of the things that works for me is really that I'm very open about my life. I'm very transparent. I'm very open about my life and my experiences. So when I'm open and I'm authentic, and I share it, it gives them permission to be open as well. Like they just feel comfortable. I can tell you, even if I'm not in a coaching context somewhere, I'll start talking to someone, and next thing you know, I know their whole life. And they'll cry to me and they'll tell me things they've never told anybody before. But it starts with me being what I want them to be, which is open and authentic and vulnerable. And that's what really works the most. That's what works the most. And, you know, and it's really about encouraging them to know that they're in a safe space, and there's no judgment, and that I'm there to support them in any way that I can.
Thank you.
That's what works for me.
Thank you. And keeping in mind that we are going to later share this on our page. I like that you brought up that point, because it is important for women to know as this gets shared and as it gets on into our communities. And that is my prayer, to be honest with you, is that everything that we share here, even before I started this, I prayed and I said, you know, God, whatever happens with this, whether it's one person, just one person that ends up on the receiving end of this, that this may fall in the right ears and the right heart, and that our message will just resonate within them. And that if they feel connected or identified with one of you, that they may reach out to any one of you for whatever reason it is. So I thank you for being on here. And before I go to you, Annette, because I just realized I didn't even introduce myself. I have a Viva Woman title up here, but I didn't say my name is Mia Perez. For those of you that are watching the link after we've recorded this. And I am the founder of Viva Woman, but I am just the one who opens it. This page really, and this community Facebook page movement, what my purpose and mission for this is really for you. It's really for us. It's really for all of us. It's for Maria. It's for Sandy Lou. It's for Annette. It's for whoever's watching this. It's for all of us women that need a hub. We need a home. We need something to connect to. And to come to like this, like we are doing right now, to just talk about whatever. I'm going to ask in the future, what topic do you want us to cover? And we bring in the experts and we talk the way we are. Maybe, you know, Maria will bring one of the girls that she coaches, you know, or Sandy Lou will bring somebody else, or Annette will bring somebody else when we talk about domestic violence. I want this to be a safe place in the way that we're going to give you our most honest, our most raw and honest and encouraging advice of what we've been through and what we suggest when you're feeling a certain way, or if you're coming across something, whether you reach out to us via privately, let's say Facebook message, or by email once they give their information out to you. This is what I want. And I want us, like Sandy Lou said as well, like Maria said, it's about being transparent. It's about connecting. It's about being raw. It's about just really opening yourself up in order for people to connect with you. Because I mean, I love videos. I watch a lot of inspirational videos. I watch a lot of these, you know, people that are just like, you know, if you're feeling down, just get up and, you know, dust it off and shake it off and get back out there. And it's great. But I need to deal with my feelings first. I need to process all of that. And if I need to cry, I need to cry. If I need to be angry, let me be angry. But we need to know the healthy, I don't know if it's a boundary or healthy balance to that. There has to be like an expiration, you know, date to that. Like my friend told me the other day, we were talking about relationships, and she's like, you know, she's like, if I'm going to cry over a guy, I tell myself, you know what? You're crying up till December 15th. Cry all you want. Eat all the ice cream I want. I don't care what. But December 15th, that's the last tear I'm going to shed for this guy. You know, and it's funny, but that's kind of what I want to get to. We all hit low points. We all hit things in our lives, and in different ways it affects us because we hit at different levels. And but the one thing that we have to agree with is, okay, we encounter that. Then what? We can't stay there. That can't happen. It should not be allowed, and we should not allow other women that we know to stay there. We cannot do that, especially if we've been there. We need to help them get back up. We have to do that. So again, I did introduce myself. My name is Mia Perez, and I will be continuing to host this for the next 20 minutes that we have here. So so thank you again for that. And now, Annette, if you can continue with, actually, I had asked you a question, Sandy Lou. So Annette, my question to you is, how do you feel when you're talking to these women? Okay. And I think it's because if already women are apprehensive about opening up and sharing, generally in their pain, how much harder is it for a woman who's been through domestic violence because her trust has been violated? How is it that you break through to them? And even for us, for women that are dealing or helping other women, how do we approach that? Because I think there has to be a very careful approach to a woman that has suffered that.
So if we're speaking just about domestic violence right now, domestic violence is the physical, the verbal, emotional, the sexual, the financial abuse, where an intimate partner has that control over you. When I worked at the shelter, the first thing we would tell women that had finally chosen to leave was, this is your life. I'm here to help you. Your choices are your choices. I'm going to do the best I can to help you stay away. Because as we know with domestic violence, it takes about 9 tries of them leaving and going back to finally stay away. Now, the most, I think women finally get the courage when they look into their children's eyes, and either the children, start to defend the mom and they themselves are in danger, or they start abusing their mom. And the mom finally says, you know what, I'm not going to let my child think this is okay. Women are so powerful. My husband always tells me women have destroyed empires. That's what my husband always says. And I think that's true, because women are afraid to open up their treasure chest. They're afraid to speak on what is holding them back, what makes them cry at night, how they feel about how other people have treated them, how they feel about how they allowed themselves to be treated. Whether it's guilt, if they're ashamed, if they have nobody else to talk to, whatever the situation is, we are all given that power to speak up. It's harder to speak up when you're so damaged, but once you find your voice, it gets easier every time and with every situation. I think it's hard to talk to women because we're scared of what's hurting us. We're scared to let people know what's affecting us, what keeps us up at night. Like I said, it can be so simple as thinking that you're not helping your kid with their homework right, that you're not setting the bedtime rule and sticking to it and just giving in and letting them stay up 15 minutes late, that you go to a job that you really don't like, but you have to go to because that's what pays your health insurance. All those little things make up who we are. And for us to admit that we're struggling with an issue, it's hard. It's hard to do that, especially when you feel like nobody knows what you're going through. Mm-hmm. And that's why I speak up, because most of the situations that I've been through or that I've had to deal with or that I've heard other women talk about, either I can relate to it or I've spoken to another woman that's going through the same thing as they are. Mm-hmm. So that's where I feel it's hard to get women, is to let them know, listen, you're not alone. I've spoken to other women. I've spoken to, elder women, because the elder women were hardcore. They tell you, how it is, when it is, and that's it. No messing around. But we've gotten into this mode where we have to be perfect, and perfect means being perfect, not sharing your feelings, just dealing with it. My best phrase is putting on my big girl panties and dealing with it. That's what we do. We make it happen. And once you start getting involved and making friends with women who don't judge you, and I think that's the hardest thing, is we think that other women are going to judge us. Some will, friends, family, they'll judge you. But you're going to find that one person that's going to be there to support you. And you have to hold on to people like that, because that's something that we as women have to learn, is how to be supportive to other women. Because if it's hard for us to find somebody that supports us, but we know we can support somebody else, we just have to do it and not worry about how much time that's taken away from our families. We just have to empower each other and be there to support each other and just roll with it. Right. It's going to make the world a better place.
Yes, thank you. And that's exactly what each and one of you are doing. And it sounds like I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to say it all the time when I talk to women like you guys. I applaud you for that, because people don't realize how hard it is to really open up about yourself and share, whether it's your flaws, your weakest moments, like you said, what keeps you up at night. What is it that you still battle with all the time, that even though people think you have it all together, because look at, well, like when they tell me, oh, well, you do this and you do that, and I still hug my pillow at night and sit there and hug my daughter sometimes, and I cry quietly because she can't know the pain that I have to go through sometimes. So we can all identify with that as well. So thank you for bringing those things up, Annette, because I do have, again, a big heart for the domestic abuse, and we'll touch more on that subject later. And Maria, I saw you, nodding your head a couple of times, and two things. One is about finding your voice. You were nodding your head, but that was one important point, that she says how women start speaking up when they find their own voice. And second, when they start finding women that they connect with to empower each other. Share with me, in your experience, how is it that you found your own voice, and how did you start building your community to connect with women as well, please?
Yes. In order to find my own voice, I actually had to tune everyone out. Nicaragüense, Latina, our culture, we're told not to speak up. And I'm always very careful because I do offend my family. But that upbringing taught me to stay quiet, and that didn't do me any justice, and it doesn't do any other woman any justice or service if they're staying quiet. That does not represent strength. So for me, to find my voice, I had to recognize the pattern. If I stayed quiet, I would be passing that on to the next generation of women, and then I would be teaching that generation of women would teach the next generation of women to stay quiet and never find their voice. So I made it a point to tell myself, I'm going to stand up for every little girl that has never spoken up before, and I'm going to be that voice. And I use that mission alone to speak up and find my own voice and separate myself from the limiting belief systems that were ingrained in me, growing up, and sticking to my purpose, to who I was. And like, as Sandy Lou said, my voice came when I decided to be authentic and vulnerable. And that is when I found my voice, when I just decided to just be me and raw. And so when I decided to when I started building my community, which is, I've only been doing this not even 2 years, was through that. When women coming into my inbox and saying, wow, thank you for sharing that. I've never been able to tell somebody X, Y, Z, and they would open up. And little by little, I started, growing my network with fellow survivors, fellow Latinas who had eating disorders, like I developed through my depression, and all from just being vulnerable and honest and raw. And that's how I found my voice, and that's how I'm able to still build how I'm building my my network and community. It's just being honest, so other women could come to me and not feel like I'm this, I'm painting this perfect realm of perfection that social media loves to highlight. They know that they won't get that with me.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's my voice.
Perfect. Sandy Lou. In the beginning, I used to call you Sandy, and I'm like, oh, Sandy Lou. It goes together. Sandy Lou. can you share with me, how is it that, actually, is there something that you want to share? Is there something that you think that you want people to know about you as they watch this video? I'm going to ask each one of you the same thing. Is there something that, if somebody's watching this video, what message do you want to give them? Because I know we're running, like we have 10 minutes left. What message do you want to give them? And also, how can they find you connect with you on social media or whatnot? Which, by the way, whoever's watching this video, hold on real quick, because I didn't know how you switched to and all that. Whoever's watching this video, now we're going to be doing this often. Sandy Lou has her Facebook lives that she does, and she has webinars, and those are the things that I will be sharing as well. We will be posting them on our Viva page. Like I said, this is a community page. This is not my page. I just happen to have opened it and facilitating it. This is our page. So I will be posting Sandy Lou's Facebook lives that she does on many different topics. If Maria, I think you might be starting one, or you have something going on as well. We'll be posting that information as well, and Annette, anything you would like to share as well. So I just want people to know that this is just something that we're starting with, but on our Viva Facebook page, Viva Women's Empowerment Facebook page, we will be sharing the information for Sandy Lou, for Maria, for Annette, for anybody that we bring on here. So on that note, now I can go ahead and switch back to you, Sandy Lou. Tell me what message it is you want to, or just give us your message. And also, where is it that they can find you for women that would want to connect with you with webinars, Facebook Lives, and all of that?
Well, one of the most important things that I think people really need to know and be focused on is oneself. The most important relationship that we will ever have in our entire life is the one we have with ourselves. So it's so important to take care of ourselves, to get to know who we truly are authentically. All the stories, all the circumstances, they are not who we are. It's who we become. And we weren't born fearful. We weren't born angry. We weren't born guarded. None of those things. That's who we became. So we get to work on ourselves, let go of the things that are no longer serving us, and really nurture and love ourselves the way we want someone else to do it for us. Because at the end of the day, wherever you go, you're there. So you want to make sure that that relationship is the best relationship that you ever have. It's so important, and everything else is a bonus. And that's really key. Like everything I coach people, whether it's their business or personal or their career, it always boils down to the relationship with themselves, because they will create what they want from there, or they won't, right? So I just want everyone to know that we are powerful beings, and we all have different gifts. Our journey of our life is different and unique to every one of us. So one is, don't compare yourself to anybody. Everyone's journey is different. Use your experiences and the circumstances as an opportunity to learn and grow, to forward yourself and forward other people. And always know that every moment is a new moment, and you can create whatever your heart desires. You do have a choice. We have a choice of our thoughts, actions, and feelings, and our interpretations. And like you shared earlier, you want to experience your experience. So if you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad, but don't unpack in there and stay there forever. You got to experience it so it doesn't become something else unhealthy. But at the same time, make a conscious choice that this doesn't get to be the place where you get stuck. Use your resources. You got to invest in yourself. Get coaching. If you need counseling, therapy, get it. There's no reason for us to get stuck in these ways of being. There's a lot of options out there. And the thing that we don't want to do the most, sometimes when it's so heavy, you don't want to get up. That's when you really have to get up, even if you're crawling to the next step. If I didn't crawl, I would have probably not been here today. So, I'm here to support in any way that I can. You can reach me on Facebook, and my business page is Life's Choice Coaching with Sandy Lou, or even my personal page at Sandy Lou Guerrero, and my website, www.lifeschoicecoaching.com. I look forward to being with you more often and sharing and supporting in any way that I possibly can. Thank you, Mia. And ladies, thank you.
Thank you so much. Annette. You're on mute, though. Hold on. Annette, are you on? You're mute.
Ay, no está.
Am I there?
You're here now. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Give us your closing message, and again, and you know what? I if there's a way that people can contact you as well, because I know myself of a few women that actually do follow me that are going through still currently domestic abuse. Actually, one of them was going to be on this, and unfortunately, she said that her partner is just 24/7 on her. She wouldn't even be able to watch this and interact, unfortunately. So she's gonna have to sneak away at some point and watch it in the bathroom or something when he's gone. So sadly, yeah. So if there's any way that you can go ahead and also give your closing statement and your information contact.
So my closing statement is treat yourself how you treat others. And I'd say treat others how you want people to treat your children, if you have children, or your mom or your sister. Just pay it forward. There's a lot of times that I'm sure we've all thought we're rock bottom, but somehow we're still here. And whether it be about not having money to pay your bills, or not being able to pick up your kids from daycare, or feeling like your body is not what you want it to be and you're not even comfortable in your own skin, whatever the situation is, there's always tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I mean another day to start over. When I worked at the domestic violence agency, we had to come up with a life quote. And the one I came up with was, do the best that you can with the little that you have. And you can take that however you want to take it, apply it however you choose to. Just know that you are not alone. Even when you feel you are, there's always somebody there willing to listen. All you have to do is speak up and reach out. That's all. And as hard as it is, once you're done with that conversation, or once you're done crying or letting out all that you have in your heart, you're going to feel better, and there's going to be a light there, and you're going to know what's coming next. You're going to know what your next step is, what your next option is. And it's all for it's all for your health, your safety, your empowerment as a woman and as a human being. You're a living creature, and you deserve it. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved and respected and listened to. There's a lot of times we do feel alone, but like I said, we're here today. It's a new day. It's a new chapter. And I just want to thank you, ladies, Maria, for contacting me. I just want to. Maria and I have grown in the last few years since we've reconnected, and we were rock bottom once too. We might look like we know everything and that we're super women and that we have nothing going on, but believe us, we are a crazy hot mess, but we are so blessed. It just, these blessings that we come across, they just keep us going. And I just want to express gratitude to Sandy Lou and Mia for joining us in this call. If you would have asked me 2 days ago if I would have seen myself doing this, I would have said no, because I started a codependency lifestyle change 5 years ago when I started to learn to say no more often. And that itself is empowering to myself, because I learned that I deserve as much of my time as much as I give to others around, and that's something different, is learning that you deserve to dedicate time to yourself. And as hard as it is, as women, mothers, wives, we always have something else to do for somebody else. But if it's something that we have to do for ourselves, we can't find the time for it.
Right.
So I just want to thank you, ladies, for inviting me to join this group. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to join you.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you. And Maria. Maria, give us your closing statement as well, too, please. And where can they find you?
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, my closing statement would be on two sides. For any woman who's watching this who depression, anxiety, any sort of abuse, please speak up. Please don't be afraid. There is help for you. And I know you seem scared. I know you feel scared. I know it seems like there's no avenue for you, but the scariest thing is to just speak up. And once you do, things will fall into place for you. So I always have to put that message out there. Please find help. Healthy from the inside out is my number one. What I tell women: get healthy from the inside out. You know, you can't just get healthy. You can't just get fit. You know, work on your body. You can't just healthy is from the inside out. You have to work on your mind, your spirit. You got to feed yourself truth. You got to work on your personal development. You have to work on that just as much as you focus on eating healthy. You can't just count calories. You can't just burn calories. Focus on the inside of yourself as well. When coaching women, I always reiterate that, a healthy life starts from the inside. So, invest in yourself, pick up personal development books, reach out to other women that, you find inspiring that might be able to mentor you and guide you. Remove your ego. Let your ego get out of the way so you can develop and become the woman you were created to be. My Facebook page, my personal page, Maria Bello Ramos, Maria Bello Ramos, is where I could be reached. My coaching Facebook business page is Healthy from the Inside Out with Maria Araceli Bello. Either way, I'm just an inbox away from being just an online encourager to any woman out there who is in need. God bless you, ladies. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this call. I'm so honored and so inspired by your stories. And Mia, you didn't share your story on this call, and it's because your story is so inspiring. Because I know your story is so inspiring, it gives me courage. It gave me courage to. There's no way I was saying no to you, lady. No way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't share my story because I purposely wanted to do a part 2 to this. So I don't know if you guys are open to continuing this, because I feel like right now it's more of an introduction that we just gave to the women. I think we can delve a little bit deeper in the next one if you guys are open to it.
Yes.
Can agree?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, I'll share my story in the next one. I just really wanted to make sure that our community just gets started, and who better to start it with than the three of you amazing women. And I really thank you so much for taking the time, and for, gosh, it's like it was almost like not gonna happen. Earlier when I was trying to do it, the Google, and I'm like, God, is this a devil or what? He just does not want us to do this.
It was a
nice little test.
Right. But thank God everything was done at the last minute. Maria was like, let's just go switch over to Zoom. So I was like, we hurried up and did the account, and we got it going. So thank you for working with me on that, and for being patient. And again, for sharing your stories, each and every one of you. Annette, I love that you brought up your experience with helping women when it comes to domestic violence. So important. That's actually a subject that's already on track. I already have 3 women waiting, 3 women that want to talk about emotional abuse and domestic violence. So I'm going to hold off a little bit on that, maybe in 2 weeks, because I really want to maybe delve a little bit deeper, like I said, into what we did, our lowest point. Because I know each and every woman, maybe somebody doesn't identify with domestic violence, right? Because that's more of a different audience. But we've all hit our lowest point. We've all at one point, if we haven't hit rock bottom in our life, we've really encountered things that have just like really kicked us pretty much on the ground at one point or another. And but each one of you guys has gotten back up. You found the strength. And with the strength, you guys actually took notes on that. And you said, you know what? There's other people out there and I'm going to help them. So I appreciate, because it's women like you that Viva Women is for and is about, because they're going to come to women like us. And then we were the women that are actually going to view this, you know, and, you know, these women will one day become us. And that's what we want. Because when I had my lowest point, whether it was by ignorance, because I'm sure there was things like what we're doing right now, maybe not Google Hangouts, but there's always been people out there coaching or that you can always, you know, reach out to. But unfortunately for me, I just didn't have that within my reach in my community. Had I had something like this where I could view like a video or see that, hey, Maria is actually here in San Jose and I can go talk to her about this, or hey, Annette has worked with women domestic violence and she can give you some advice, or hey, Sandy Lou has been through the loss of, you know, her mother as well that drove her to this point, then I would have a way that I can reach out to someone without feeling bad because of how I feel alone. Because like I said, and one of you mentioned that, yeah, your family even comes down on you sometimes, where they expect you, okay, yeah, that's enough, like snap out of it, get over it and move on. Or sometimes like Sandy Lou, you're the pillar, you're expected to keep everybody together, you're the glue. So what happens when you become unglued? Who helps you, you know? So those are all things that, again, I think we can look into next week, and we'll definitely go over maybe some notes and put it out there. And if you guys can also share within your community questions that they may want us answered on the next the next part 2, I guess, that we do of hitting your lowest point, whether it's advice that they need or they want to share a story through you, then that would be great. So again, thank you guys so much. It's 9:05. We hit the hour. A friend of mine was like, I don't know, maybe you should do 30 minutes because, you know, that's a long time. I was like, no, these girls can talk. They like to talk. We have stories. We'll be good. So thank you guys once again. Again, Annette, they can find you on Facebook, Sandy Lou on your Facebook Lives as well, and Maria on your Facebook. So, and again, on our Facebook community page, you guys will have your information on there as well. So thank you guys. Have a great night. And so yeah, let's, you know, Viva, again, Viva stands for 2 things. And one, well, I named it Viva because I'm Latina, obviously. You guys are too. But I want to make sure nobody feels left out. If somebody is not Latina, it does not mean you cannot belong to our community. It just happens to be that I'm Latina, and look at my friends are Latinas, and we just thought, let's just do it. And for me, Viva is in Spanish, it means to celebrate. It means, like, you know, when they say Viva, you know, Viva Mexico. So I want to celebrate women, celebrate who we are, what we've been through. We're still here and we're getting back up. And no matter what brings us down, we're going to keep going. That's what I want to celebrate, the empowerment that we're building within each other, our community. And Viva also means that we're alive. And that's another thing. God, life has kicked us in the but I'm alive. I know you guys are happy that you're alive too, and we're here. So that's what Viva is about. Viva Women. And thank you so much again, guys. Mwah. I love you guys. We'll be talking soon.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.